Look, he's gunning for trouble. The world's wiliest, toughest gentleman agent with a license to kill. 007. It spells Bond. He's the idol of every woman. Sean Connery in Ian Fleming's
Goldfinger.
It's January 1964, and James Bond has become one of the most popular characters in motion picture history. Producers Albert Cubby Broccoli and Harry Saltzman have one goal: to create the biggest Bond yet. Ultimately, they create something more.
Who are you?
Bond. James Bond.
The film's marketing campaign, orchestrated by ace publicist Tom Carlyle, is well underway when cameras roll in Miami. Reporters and paparazzi are invited onto the set for a golden photo shoot, where they capture one of the decade's most memorable erotic images. Before long, Goldfinger is on the covers of magazines throughout the world. The main focus of Goldfinger's marketing campaign is Sean Connery, now an international star. Some candid photos are hastily staged to emphasize Connery's appeal to female fans. This very private man rapidly becomes sought out by reporters around the globe. To relieve the burden, the United Artists conducts an interview which is sent to radio stations across America.
This has all the flavors and ingredients of equally good, successful, entertaining film. Of the same stature as the other two. We've also got a marvelous actor, German actor, Gert Frober, playing Goldfinger. And it'll have all the dash. It might be slightly longer, actually, with all the materials and things we've got into it. We've also got to do a little bit of damage at Fort Knox, you know, so it gives you sort of sneaking suspicion as to what the size of the film is. It's the biggest of the three. All the build-up is to rob Fort Knox, but the twist is that the person who instigates the whole thing doesn't want to rob it. So you figure that one out.
Beautiful place Goldfinger has here.
This is a different story, and takes place a great deal in America itself, you know, in Kentucky and Miami all around. There are all sort of different facets of the same sort of theme, with, you know, slight sort of variation. And there's a different director this time. Guy Hamilton's directing and not Terence Young.
This scene marks the first time a laser is used in the plot of a motion picture.
All I know is that it's a ray that they punch up that can nick a hole in steel, that it can cut through metal and what have you. And this character uses it for cutting gold and has an idea of dissecting me with it.
Connery shares the media spotlight with Honor Blackman.
The mayhem in Goldfinger isn't all male. Sultry co-star Honor Blackman and Sean rehearse their judo for a bouncy scene that'll pit the girls against the boys.
This rare promotional film is shown on American television in mid-1964.
Score, boys 1, girls nothing. The score tied at 1-1. They flip for one another. Before the scene is shot, Sean and Honor get together to run through some other action for Goldfinger. This time with the emphasis on togetherness. In the film, Honor plays the personal pilot of millionaire Auric Goldfinger. She crash lands in the lap of Agent 007. Kissing and clobbering are what have made James Bond a box office favorite around the globe. Put the two together, wrap up rehearsals, and you're ready to shoot a rocking scene like this for Goldfinger. They've forgotten what they were fighting about.
My name is Pussy Galore.
Nervous studio executives considered changing the character's name to Kitty Galore. The risque name is never printed on the US trading cards aimed at youngsters.
It's very much tongue-in-cheek, isn't it? I mean, if you're so po-faced that you have to take that seriously, well, bad luck. But I mean, it was very funny in the States. I was quite shocked that they were shocked. I was rather taken aback. So I used to quite deliberately say, "Oh, you mean pussy?" And he used to die and cut and all that sort of thing, you know.
I believe this is yours.
Hawaiian wrestler Harold Sakata makes his screen debut as Oddjob.
Harold Sakata, the 284-pound wrestling sensation from Hawaii, is heading for a new career. If he passes his screen test, he'll play a murderous muscle man in the new James Bond movie thriller, Goldfinger. And what a screen test it is. Those were 4 blocks of walnut that can support an elephant. Now for footsies. This can really fracture you. Harold's toes hang together, the part is his. Here's Sakata's first scene in Goldfinger. He's mixing it up with Sean Connery, who stars as Special Agent James Bond in the United Artists adventure film. The setting is the U.S. Treasury's gold vault at Fort Knox. It looks like the first round goes to Sakata. With it goes the admiration of youngsters visiting the set.
No matter how strong a man is, a cough can still get the upper hand. But fortunately, there's Vicks Formula 44, the extra strength cough mixture. Effective as codeine, but not narcotic. Extra strength to help control a cough before it goes on a rampage.
Influential British graphic artist Robert Brownjohn, designer of the stunning main title sequence of the film, takes charge, designing the advertising campaign. Brownjohn revises images of Connery which were originally created for Dr. No. Actress Margaret Nolan models for the poster artwork, and also the Golden Girl in the main credit sequence. Robert Brownjohn devises several other striking images for use on the film's final one-sheet and British quad posters. Collectors take note, there is an alternate version of the British poster worth over $1,500, if you can find it. Literally worth its weight in gold. The studio retouches sexy publicity photos before release to the press. As if Golden Girls and Pussy Galore are not exotic enough, Goldfinger also gives Tom Carlyle and his marketing team a publicist's dream, the now famous Aston Martin DB5.
Well, we have an Aston Martin car that has a few sort of idiosyncrasies which a potential enemy would find interesting. And there's also a pilot's ejector seat for the fellow traveler. Just puts them out through the roof at somewhat hurried speed. There's a couple of other little things, but it's much better one doesn't disclose them because they'll lose their flavor.
Although the success of Goldfinger makes Sean Connery a household name, the Aston Martin DB5 quickly speeds past him into the record books. No other vehicle in the history of entertainment so captivates the public mind. Still popular at auto shows, Bond's lethal vehicle spawns an entire cottage industry of products. In 1965, Corgi Toys releases their first replica of the car, and it sells a phenomenal 2 million units worldwide.
Corgi made a golden car, the golden Bond car, which had the ejector seat and all the gadgets, everything worked. They made a miniature Aston Martin for Prince Charles. I remember seeing photographs of it. It was a complete, absolute replica of the Bond car.
Various versions of the car are produced over the next 30 years. Corgi coats this 1994 edition of the DB5 in 14-karat gold. Only 7,500 of these special anniversary cars are manufactured, and their value continues to soar. Any wonder that James Bond's Aston Martin DB5 earns the title the most famous car in the world? This is the Aston Martin DB5 used in the 1995 Bond thriller GoldenEye. In action at the same Pinewood studio locations used in Goldfinger. Of the 1,023 DB5s built, 2 are used during production of Goldfinger. Producers outfit another 2 with gadgets for publicity purposes. All 4 are now privately owned and valued in excess of $250,000 each. The DB5 gets the occasional critique from an eagle-eyed fan.
and you'd get a letter addressed to the director, Pinewood Studios, England. Dear Sir, I saw Goldfinger. When James Bond in the Aston Martin leaves Switzerland, the back tires are Pirelli CXs XY, but when he arrives at the petrol station, they're Dunlop 402s. Yours sincerely, Roger Brown, age 9. I worried about this because, and then I came up with an answer, which I thought was quite cute. I wrote, Dear Roger, well done. You spotted one of our 6 deliberate mistakes, and if you can spot the other 5, you're invited to Pinewood to have lunch with James Bond. And I like to think that he and his friends went about 10 more times to see the picture.
But I think the most frightening experience I had with the car was that at Her Majesty's 40th anniversary, there was an enormous show put on at Earl's Court, and I had to drive it past the Queen. Well, I don't think this car had been driven for years, because in a sort of the practice run, it's kept stalling. And I thought, my God, I know what's going to happen. It's going to stall right in front of the Queen. Half the audience would expect me to get out and tinker with it and put it right.
Producers Broccoli and Saltzman make plans for an elaborate premiere in London on September the 17th. It will be a Bond bash like no other. The streets outside the Odeon jam with over 5,000 fans. In keeping with the lavish style of the film, everything is first class.
It was, I think, the most glamorous night of my life, I have to say. I mean, the crowds were so enormous that the glass went in at the cinema. I mean, they pushed the glass in. And one got a great hand as one came out and swept down the stairs. It was very, very glamorous. Harry always said that women came out of seeing a Bond film dreaming about Bond, and the men came out walking tall.
A British designer creates a special Goldfinger jewel, which Honor Blackman wears to the premiere and on a promotional tour of England. The $10,000 bauble becomes its own attraction.
And we got to the studio literally 5 minutes before I was due on. We were on directly after the news. And I had these 2 security men walking behind me, because I had this gold finger, you know. But as the countdown started, he asked me, the interviewer said, what would you like me to ask you? And I said, I don't give a damn what you ask me, you know, I like not to know. And then he suddenly said, Miss Blackman, what is it like being half male, half female? At which I absolutely broke up. And I had on a very low-cut dress, so I leaned forward and I said, which half did you have in mind for which?
Goldfinger breaks records in its premier British engagements, and an eager audience awaits the film's release in the United States. Golden Girl Shirley Eaton tours major American cities in advance of the movie's December the 21st premiere. Sneak preview screenings draw hordes of fans in Washington, D.C., Miami, New Orleans, and Los Angeles.
We had a sneak somewhere in Westwood, and that was the first time I'd seen the picture with an audience. And what I enjoyed thoroughly was sitting in front of me was a real know-it-all. I mean, he was a big kind of truck driver, and he got his wife and he got his mother-in-law, and he'd seen the obvious Bond movies. I mean, he knew all about Bond, and all the way through he made commentaries and then leant back because he knew the answer, and then I fooled him time and time and again, and that was my pleasure. I mean, he was the guy I was really working for.
Simultaneously, the studio floods the airwaves with advanced radio spots promoting Goldfinger, even if Her Majesty's secret agents sound like they hail from the Borscht Belt.
Evening 006. Evening 008. What's new? I'm fed up with 007, that's what's new. He's back in action and he's got the best assignment again. The Goldfinger case. You think...
Stop! Look! He's gunning for trouble. 007. It spells... Bond.
Shocking.
He's the idol of every woman.
Who are you?
Bond. James Bond.
The envy of every man. The nemesis of the treacherous Mr. Goldfinger. Goldfinger, a triumph in thrill-making cinema entertainment.
The man with the mind.
A three-time winner for Fleming's Secret Agent 007.
Who are you?
My name is Pussy Galore.
Isn't it customary to grant a condemned man his last request?
You've asked for this.
Come and purr over Honor Blackman as Pussy Galore. The female who is all feline. Also starring Gert Frober as Goldfinger. International cheat. International menace.
Gentlemen! Goldfinger, why weren't we told the New York and the West Coast were in on this?
Goldfinger, I made a delivery. Where is my money?
And you owe me $1 million.
Goldfinger, the man with a finger in every pie. His goal, Fort Knox, the world's biggest bank. His enemy, 007, the world's wiliest, toughest gentleman agent with a license to kill. 007, it spells Bond. James Bond, mixing business with girls and thrills. Girls and fun. Girls and danger. The hotter the danger, the cooler he takes it.
I think you've made your point, Goldfinger. Thank you for the demonstration. Choose your next witticism carefully, Mr. Bond. It may be your last. Do you expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
The marketing department at United Artists becomes so excited they even take publicity photos of Vincent Sardi's dinner to plan the American premiere. Bond's DB-5 arrives on the SS France, drawing all sorts of admirers. The evening of December the 21st, 1964, becomes the event of the season for New York society, with crowds surging around the elegant DeMille Theatre. After the screening, local celebrities wine and dine in the grand ballroom of the famous Astor Hotel.
Goldfinger proved to be the turning point in James Bond films. It packed audiences worldwide, from England to Japan and certainly in the United States.
By the time of the US premiere, Bond frenzy grips the world. Goldfinger crosses all boundaries of sex and age. Everyone wants to be among the first to see the action-packed return of 007. Goldfinger smashes records in New York and at box offices around the world, from Tokyo to Munich, from Rome to Taiwan, from Mexico City to Mobile, Alabama. Goldfinger is everywhere. Goldfinger earns back its $3 million production costs in only 2 weeks. An incredible achievement considering it's playing at only 64 theaters in 41 key American cities. No wonder it achieves status in the Guinness Book of World Records as the fastest grossing film of all time.
At the time of the release of Goldfinger, there were the obvious movie tie-ins, the book, the album.
The film also launches the James Bond merchandising boom. These British trading cards mark the first official James Bond product, along with these James Bond 007 dress shoes. The box alone is now worth $400.
Around about the time when Goldfinger was first released in 1964, we suddenly started to see a lot of spoofs and parodies of Bond and spies start to hit the screen. So Bond was responsible for starting off everybody else jumping on the Bond wagon. And whilst all these other films are quite entertaining in their way, none of them match the class, style and sophistication of a Bond film. Everybody tries to copy it, nobody's equalled it. Not then and not now.
James Bond parodies appeared all over. Another Goldfinger success is the chart-topping title track by composer John Barry.
Goldfinger.
Although Shirley Bassey's soaring rendition of the song is the one audiences remember, the hit had its origins with this demo version by co-lyricist Anthony Newley.
Such a cold finger beckons you to enter his web of sin, but don't go in. Golden words he will pour in your ear,
But his lies can't disguise what you feel.
The Goldfinger soundtrack, which went gold, naturally, causes a case of battling billboards with the producers of the Sherlock Holmes musical Baker Street. The success of the film fuels interest in the novel all over again. One wonders if Ian Fleming had any notion that his creation would not only endure, but increase in popularity for over 4 decades. Goldfinger is so popular that it is successfully reissued many times in combination with other Bond films. The first reissue is this 1966 double bill with Dr. No.
Miss Honey and Miss Galore have James Bond back for more. And here he comes, the one, the only 007. And he's got a date with his 2 deadliest enemies, Goldfinger and Dr. No. It's Sean Connery as James Bond, at his best, battling 2 of his worst enemies. They try to bomb him and charm him, mug him, and drug him.
Who are you?
My name is Pussy Galore.
They try to chop him and drop him, belt him and melt him.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Walls crumble in his path. Women tumble in his arms. Nothing stands in his way.
Shocking.
There is only one James Bond. And if you liked him back to back, you'll love him face to face with his 2 deadliest enemies.
Goldfinger.
And Dr. No.
This is Goldfinger. Get ready, Mr. Bond. Dr. No and I are getting another shot at 007 together.
To celebrate Goldfinger's 30th anniversary, fans from around the country gather for a re-premiere at the prestigious Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Sponsored by Creation Entertainment, the event has many alumni from the Bond films, including Goldfinger's editor and future Bond director Peter Hunt, and the man who designed many of the Aston Martin's amazing gadgets, special effects wizard John Steers. The next day, Creation Entertainment hosts a large convention which allows fans to enjoy a close-up view of the original DB5 gadget car. At London's Planet Hollywood, the cuisine is served amid a museum of original Bond props. Even Oddjob's lethal hat is here. More than 3 decades after its original premiere, Goldfinger remains one of the most memorable and popular films of all time.
This is no time to be rescued.
The Goldfinger phenomenon created its own style, humor, and sense of elegance. The film became an event, a conversation starter, and a show stopper. Only a handful of films retain their original charm and popularity over intervening decades, but Goldfinger continues to captivate viewers. For those who saw the film in 1964, Goldfinger made an indelible impression. On some, more than others.
As a boy in 1964, when I left Ireland, it was the first film I ever saw. It was magic. It was Goldfinger. It was unbelievable. It was a naked lady covered in gold paint. It was just sheer magic. And the man, you know, Oddjob with the hat and everything like that. It was sheer sophistication. You know, life changed for me.